I when it comes to perception, I give a few examples. Example number one will be it's a plant called Japanese knotweed. It's all over the place. And this weed, so-called weed, is very invasive. That means when it gets somewhere, it just takes the whole place. And most of the people struggling very much, even paying money to buy chemical like Roundup, the herbicide, to destroy it. And based on the people's perception, it is a weed they must kill. But when you look closely, it's a great medicine. And it's a great medicine. And also, when you go to the market, you go to Whole Food store or any other store, look at the price of resveratrol. It's very expensive. It's a great anti-aging, a fight free radical in your system. It helps to rejuvenate cells. And guess what? The root of the Japanese knotweed is one of the most concentrated source of resveratrol. So the very plant that someone who doesn't know is fighting hard, invest money to destroy it, the person that have a knowledge of that can see a medicine. Actually, the young shoots, okay, the young leaves of the Japanese knotweed is great for cooking. Very good source of food, okay? So someone who have a knowledge of the plant can see food, medicine, even business. He can think about having equipment and to process the root and make some strong source of resveratrol for the market. So the perception make the whole difference. When it's come to the herb, the best and only true perception is divine perception, the way God sees these herbs. From there, we will be all right. Otherwise, we were trampling upon a lot of herb. And I have an experience in 2018. After having a lot of patients to take care of, I need to rest a little bit. So I inquired to go upstate to some center. And this person is a medical missionary for more than 30 years. And I expressed very well that I'm coming there to choose wild vegetables for at least 2 weeks to just rebuild myself. I already have my CMOS, my all other stuff, so I'm going for the wild stuff and resting properly and do things right. Have my juicer, everything ready. And guess what? When I got there, or like the day before, they cut down all the greens. And I was very surprised, disappointed. But when I was asking them about the herb around, they don't know them. I said, this bird dog, this yellow dog, they didn't know they cut down everything. The other lion, everything you can imagine. More than an acre, just cut down everything. It's the very thing I was coming there for, and we discussed it, but because they don't understand it, they don't know the herb, they only see the weed they should destroy. and I see a medicine, I see a way to fill up my tank, to feed my body properly. They only see a weed that will destroy it. Medical missionary. So perception is very important. That give you much understanding and much a proper use of whatever you have. Some people we don't even have a right perception of our own self. And I don't want to go there. God sees you differently. Oh, yeah. Have any idea the way God sees you? My goodness. You won't expect it. You won't be craving for anybody a validation or appreciation in him. You just want to become what and who God designed you to be. So for the herb, I will say that it will be necessary for us to have a divine perception. Divine perception. So we're going to look into herbology in the Bible. We're going to see how God, our maker, our creator, and the creator of the herb, how he sees the herbs. So herbology in the Bible, I will call the right perception of herbs. Now, divine perception of herbs. Number one, when you see out there all this green, you got to commemorate creation. When you're going to be taking a herbal tea for colon cleanse or detox or whatever, remember creation when God has created these herbs. So let's look into it. Genesis chapter 1, verse 11. Genesis 1:11 reads, and God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit trees yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. So when you are driving to work tomorrow, whoever, when you see the herbs, all the herb around you, I want you to remember creation. They are not just herbs standing there. No, somebody command their existence. They're not just trees. No. And we can even go deeper. Look at their chair. It's made of wood. God created wood. Everything. We don't want to go too much. We want to stay at the level of the plant and herb and trees for now. Number two, as food. So Genesis 1:29 reads, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed. Everywhere, herbs bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Meat here means food. So what God give us the food? The herb. Today, we are afraid to drink herbs, but we are ready to take any pharmaceutical medicines very easily. Any pill, pop it 3 times a week, 3 times a day, safely. So we say, so we think. But what God has given us, we barely pay attention to it. So the herb are food. That way of seeing herb alone is a very important way. Many are afraid to take some herb because the doctor said be very careful. And I have a question. Did your doctor that said to be careful of herb ever study herbology? No. But he can tell you, he can give you a recommendation about something you have no idea of. So we can see how inconsistent is that. Then let's go for herb as medicine. But before we go there, let me try a little bit something. You have a lot of problem on earth right now about food. Homeless people don't have food. But our Father have food in abundance in nature. We can never finish eating food in nature. There's so much. I mean, so much food in nature. But what do we see? We just only see trees and herbs. But they are food. And then medicine at the same time. So because we give up on God food and God medicine, now we go about to establish our own righteousness, our own way. Do you know how many people that are homeless can have a way of life if they can just study the herb and see the herb the way God intended them to be? Perceive the herb according to God's will. A lot in the street will go to some countryside and they start processing the herbs for medicine, for food. It will create a whole business out of it. And many live in the countryside. They're also destroying the herbs without knowing that it's the very medicine, the very food, the very business that God has intended them to have. So perception is a big deal. Many live in the country and they will drive for the next 30 minutes or an hour to go buy what kale and some vegetable from the city. And but right around them, you have lamb squirrel, way better than kale. You have purslane. You have pigweed, also called amaranth. You have so much for cooking, for juicing, for baking, for doing so much. But because we don't have the right perception, you just bypass and go far to buy vegetable from the store that have been sprayed with chemicals, preserved, and you name it. So our perception is deeply damaged, especially when it comes to the herbs. Our perception needs to become much more divine way of seeing things, and it will change everything. Number 4, God, the only true chemist. When I look at the herbs and I see that the same God that created a herb created my body, and I take few examples like Cascara Sagrada, they kill kill an animal and take out the colon, then injected Cascara tea, and the dead animal colon start moving. That's how we know and discover that the colon start moving. That's how they discover that the nerve of the colon, the cascara work on that nerve so that the nerve can work, because colon move the waste because of the nerve around the colon working with the colon to have that peristal movement moving your waste until you end up in the bathroom. If you inject senna, you don't have the same result. The senna will lose the muscle of the colon and create osmosis effect, bring much fluid. So the senna is much cathartic. Who created a colon? God. Who created Cascara Sagrada? The same God. So there is a chemical connection or affinity between Cascara Sagrada and the colon. Same to the senna and the colon. So right here we start seeing that God is a chemist that balances things out properly. The medicine from the pharmacist is good to help you a little bit, but it's not very much comparable to your organ. So guess what? It's having a whole lot of side effects. But God, in his infinite divine wisdom, he balanced the chemistry between the herb and our body, that it should not be hurting you if you do the proper use of it. If you make a proper use of the herb, they should be fine. Only very, very few that are toxic. And right next to the herb that are toxic, you have the antidote right there. So when we understand this, we approach the herb with much safety, much confidence. There is way much balance with our body than any other medicine out there. Number 5, the love of God that provides, leading to the release of oxytocin. Let's say you have asthma right now, very severe asthma. Then you make lung tonic. Okay, let's say like this one. Right here. So you take 24 ounces of lemon juice, 24 ounces ginger juice, 2 cups of garlic freshly peeled, 4 ounces of horseradish, 1 ounce of cocoa root powder, and then 1 ounce of oregano oil P73 super strength, and 1 ounce of eucalyptus oil, a 1/4 cup of menthol crystals, and a 1/4 ounce of cayenne pepper tincture. We made a tincture from DMSO, basil glycerin, and distilled water. If you make this medicine right here, it's a strong medicine, you take at least 1 ounce every hour. If you are much bigger, you can take 2 or a little more ounces every hour or every 30 minutes, depending how severe is the case. At the same time, do the infrared on the chest. If possible, change the diet, taking a mucusless diet, medicinal diet, whatever you call it. When you have the relief, what do we see? I see one thing, the love of God. God knew we're going to choose sin and be sick and suffer. He created her before he created man. So in his infinite love, he made a provision to take care of our sin problem and the consequence of sin, which is sickness and disease and suffering we are having today. So when you're going to take the herb and you remember how much God loved us so much that we choose disobedience, but he still provides. And you feel loved by Almighty God in the provision of the herb. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to release oxytocin, which actually boosts your system very much. Next to that, you can be very thankful that God have the provision for the herb, because imagine if there was no herb for it. You will be left without any help. We take everything almost for granted. Otherwise, if we have had the chance not to have anything, oh, we will appreciate everything around us. But we are so used to so much that we think that we deserve it. We don't deserve anything. Go to some places where there's a pure desert, like just sand, nothing growing there. You will appreciate to have all the green around you. So when we start appreciating divine provision and we are thankful, we're going to release dopamine and serotonin. This is very much depending on your perception of the herb. Somebody in the world just see herb and just take it as a medicine. You as a child of God, you go way beyond that. You're going to take the herbal tea, remember creation. You know that this is at the same time food is safe enough. And at the same time it's a medicine as well. And then this is God that has balanced everything properly so it's safe for my body. and you'll see the love of God, how much He loves you that He provides this. And you feel loved and release oxytocin. And then you are thankful to God and release dopamine and serotonin. Do you see that before you even drink the herb, you are healing others? Anybody get it? That's why I put right here in the slide before, I put right here, herbology and total healing. Herbology and this total healing, that when you are taking the herb with that perception, it starts healing you emotionally, mentally, even physically. So you're not only taking the herb, but more than that, there's a matter of faith that's involved. Because guess what happened? I said, number 3, the herb for medicine. Let's read something from Isaiah 38, verse 21 reads, for Isaiah has said, let them take a lump of fig and lay it for a plaster upon the boil, and he shall recover. Not maybe. He said, he shall recover. And guess what? It was so. Now watch this. Imagine God told to Isaiah, go and lay your hand on the king and pray for him and he will heal. And Isaiah did that and healed. Who healed the king? It is God, divine power through the prophet. The same God created the fig by his same power of God, recommended to the king through the prophet to make a poultice from the fig on that boil. As the king healed, it is the same power. Please, I might not be able to fully express this, but I want you to perceive this correctly. If God has healed the king miraculously, we will celebrate so much. But remember, fig does not just come by itself. It's by miraculous power of creation that you get the fig right there. So using the fig is what? You are using something God power has created. It's the same healing by the same God, by the same power. Are you following me? Because this is so crucial. You got to perceive divine power, not just provide herb, but also healing with and through the herbs. Then that trigger your faith. You start trusting him more. You are willing to obey him. So it's no longer just a herb. Now we're dealing with divine power that's going to heal you through the herbs. Then you choose to surrender to him. So we see it's more than just taking herbs. Then number 7, I put right here, mindfulness of studying the herb, the mystery of creation, the laboratory of God. So we're going to study 100 herbs, 100 formulas, and more medicine. We are not going to study herb like a herbalist out there or any naturopathic doctors. We're going to study herb as believers. So we're going to be exploring divine laboratory, the full creation. So when we talk about the 100 herb, in divine creation, we're going to explore these things, the mystery of creation, how God put the chemistry of these herbs. And when you do right, you will be fascinated. And more than that, you can get in prayer to say, Lord, guide my mind to understand the mystery, how you mysteriously put these herbs. Teach me how to put them together. This is going to lead you that when you are facing a sick person, you don't know what to do, you can go to the Lord to give you revelation because you know where the herbs are coming from. So we see that our faith is involved. Our understanding of the love of God is involved. Thanksgiving is involved. Our emotions are involved. Our mental are involved. Everything is involved. So this perception of the herb going to change completely the way you see herb. And I hope it will lead you to be willing to start buying the books on herbology. Start studying. You want to explore the mystery of creation. and you will delight in the knowledge of divine provision. And day by day, as you know, you will share, start blessing people left and right. So my invitation for us in this training is not just about to know the herb, mix the herb, use it as a formula. No, no, no. You can find that out there. It's everywhere, online, all everywhere in the books, everywhere. But in this training, we want you to connect to the source, the one that had created the herbs, and to see and experience deeply his love in the provision of the herb to heal us, and the provision of the herb as a food, as a medicine, even more than that, as a business, that we can process the herbs and offer that to our fellow men, and they might return something as a token in the form of money. As in people live in the countryside, use the herb as a food, as a medicine, and as a business, and then start teaching people about herbology, not just about herb, but about the creator, his love, his provision. And you are now using the herb and herbology as a means to lead people to God. We see that? It takes a brand new level when we have a divine perception of the herbs. So that being said, let's move on. With the right perception, let us look at some few things. I put right here, gratitude increase dopamine and serotonin level in the brain. So when you're taking the herb with the gratitude, that's what happens. So when do Isaiah order it? Isaiah tell you 8 verse 21, use the fig as a poultice to heal the boil. And Genesis 1:29, the herb as food. Now, this is also my suggestion, the simple way to study herbology, okay? The same God that created our body, the same God created herbs for every body part. So from the head to toe, we are going to learn at least 4 herbs by heart. And you will never, ever miss. You can do more if you want to. Okay, you can do 10 per body part. Then you're going to become a very strong herbalist. So let's say the hair and the scalp, we're going to use stinging nettle and horsetail, sage, and oregano oil. That's at least 4 herbs. After your hair and scalp, we come down to the brain and nervous system. So we have valerian root, hops, lavender, and skullcap. After the brain, we come down to the eye. So we have eye bright, bayberry, bilberry, prodigiosa. After the eye, we come to the sinus. So we can use horseradish, garlic, prodigiosa, and cayenne. After the sinus, we should come to the level of the mouth. Okay, we have myrrh gum, comfrey, slippery herb, and golden seal. After the mouth, we come down here at the level of the thyroid, right here. So we have the herb like lobelia, bubbleweed, dandelion, and sea moss for the thyroid. And then after here, we come down to, let's say, straight to the lungs. So we have the herb for the lungs and the respiratory system. So we have the melon, prodigiosa, cayenne, horseradish, and elderberry. Number 8, heart. So you come from the lung. Between the lung, you have the heart, right? So for the heart, we have the hawthorn, we have lily of the valley, we have chickweed, and we have cayenne. Then from the heart, the blood goes through what? The arteries and the vein. So we have cayenne, ginger, white willow bark, and chaga. Then number 10, blood. Yellow dock root, dandelion root, red clover, and sarsaparilla root. These are to really cleanse the blood itself, because the blood runs through the vein and arteries, right? Then after that, we have the lymphatic system, the larger fluid in the body. So we got to clean it and keep it right. So you need cleaver, you need chaparral, red clover, and yellow dock. Then from there, we get to the stomach. So have the stomach, have a slippery yarrow, marshmallow root, and ginger. Then from the stomach, we get to the liver. We have blessed thistle, dandelion, yellow dock root, and red clover. And after that, we have a pancreas. You have bitter melon, prodigiosa, wereke, or Gymnema sylvester, or golden seal. Golden seal is one of the best herbs that help you to control sugar and help the diabetic patient. You have a cedar berry and more. Then we go to the small intestine. So the slippery cayenne, marshmallow root, and licorice root. Then colon, cascara sagrada, senna, turkey, rhubarb, mandrake. Then bones and skeleton system. We have the comfrey, white oak bark, stinging nettle, horsetail, and bamboo. 18, we have endocrinal system. This is the hormonal system. We have merlin, lobelia, blue cohosh, chaga, black cohosh, red raspberry leaves, and more. Have so much. And then number 19, reproductive system. Your hembi, sarsaparilla, chaga, damiana, your peony, guinea hen weed, donkite alley, so much herbs. The immune system now, the elderberry, chaparral, poke roots, dandelion roots, and more. Then kidneys. So you have the stone breaker, hydrangea root, bladderwrack, stinging nettle, seed, and more. So this is how you will, in a simpler way, study herbs. Study herb by body part from the head to toe. You start doing this slowly, you're going to be surprised. You're going to know 100 herbs very easily by heart, even more than 100 herbs. It's the easiest way that I know of. So you have now God created herbs and create your body and you connect it right. So we can take a few examples here. Like a laxative, much more for colon cleanse. We add fiber to it, become much better. Now, we don't recommend medicating herbs. Oh, you're constipated, just take cascara, take this, take that. No. We want to understand very much well that you don't get constipated because of something. You have violated laws. You have been dehydrated. Your food lacking fiber. You don't do digestive work. You don't have enough enzymes. So what do? Look at this. It says, good hydration, food rich in fibers, digestive work, enzyme-rich food, and much more is highly recommended in addition to the use of the following formula. Then we have right here, formula 1. We take a teaspoon of cascara sagrada, a half a teaspoon of senna, half of prodigiosa, half of cayenne, and half of ginger to make a laxative. We can add colon cleanse. We can add a fiber to this to make a much complete colon cleanse. Or we can put a fiber much more in the colon and whole body detox. But now let's show how God put this herb now going to help us to put it together as a formula. Remember, I told you that cascara, when you put that in a colon, is going to move the nerve of the colon. Senna will create osmosis effect and bring more fluid in the colon and lose the muscle of the colon. But if you take equal part of cascara and senna, you're going to have stomach ache. So this helps you to understand how to make formulas. So you take 1 teaspoon of cascara and half a teaspoon of cascara, of senna. When you do it like that, you will not have any stomach ache, and you're going to use the bathroom 2 or 3 times or more if you need to, without the pain. So understanding the herb, the portion, and the way you mix it is very crucial. So cascara is moving the nerve of the colon. Senna lose the colon muscles, create more osmotic effect, bring much fluid into the colon. Prodigiosa dissolve the mucus. Sometimes we go to the bathroom and we pass mucus. So prodigiosa specifically is to clean up the wall of your colon that's full of mucus. Then cayenne and ginger is to tonify your colon. So by understanding how this herb works, we can put them together as a formula. You get it? And this is what we're going to learn in the class, how to put formula together. We're going to have 100 herbs and 100 formulas. All right? Now, when you are taking the same cascara and the senna and prodigiosa, they have an effect on the liver. and the liver will empty all the content of the bile. And it's most of the time, it's very toxic. Okay? Now, what happens is, if the liver releases toxins into your duodenum, you need something to bind that thing out. Otherwise, guess what? If from the liver down to the duodenum, go to the small intestine, next minute it will be reabsorbed back in your bloodstream. That's why when people are doing the cleanse and they are not doing a proper detox, they get sick. You start vomiting, start having some headache, all of this is because you're reabsorbing your toxins. You create a healing crisis. So for that reason, because we understand the anatomy and physiology of the body, so when you are taking this laxative, the next 15 minutes, you're going to take the colon and whole body detox. So when the liver will release toxin, guess what? Your detox formula is going to bind that thing up. So that's why we give you right here a formula for the detox. This one, right here. So we take 2 parts of slippery, 2 parts of psyllium husk and seed, 1 part of activated charcoal, half of bentonite clay, half of fennel seed, half of marshmallow root, and a quarter of marshmallow root, and a quarter of shilajit. Now, 1 part here represents 1 tablespoon of the herb, okay? And you make a tea, take 1 or 2 tablespoons, put in the hot water, let it simmer, like you do a proper infusion, and you take it down, you're good. But in this case, you don't need to do like that because the heat gonna make it too much difficult. There's a slippery herb. You put in a hot water, it will be difficult. So you don't put in a simpler room temperature water. Okay, you just shake it up very well and you drink it down. So you don't need to use hot water right here at all. Or to be accurate, don't use hot water. Okay? Now, if you have advanced intoxication, let's say you take chemo or something, the patient take chemo before they come to you, then you're going to twist it around a little bit. You're going to add humic acid. This will detox anything from your body. Even the Agent Orange, the American used in the Vietnam War, they sprayed on many forests, and then people are still suffering for years. So how to remove the Agent Orange from the people's body? They did everything, nothing was working until they start using humic acid. They were able to detox these heavy metals, these toxins from the people's body. So it's good to cleanse your organs. It's much better to cleanse and detox them, remove toxins. That is very crucial. So you cleanse your liver, your blood, your lymphatic system, your kidneys. You cleanse them is good. Now you need also to detox them. We have so much intoxication in our food, in the water, in even our clothes today. The air and the pollution is so much. So it's important that we just have the proper way to work things out properly. In a way of healing, you need to cleanse, detox, nourish, and regenerate. But for all of these details, we're going to get it into the class. So what can we say, or what should we expect from this training? You're going to learn about 100 herbs that God has created, and then also how to put them together as a formula. And we're going to ask you to make these formulas because we're going to show you first. Okay, we're going to teach you, show you through the videos, everything. Then we're going to ask you to make them and take them. We don't want you to just come here and collect information. No, you can read that in the books everywhere. We want you to experience what you have learned. All I said about cascara and acena right now is great, right? But when you make that thing and you put it in your mouth, and it really empty, or you go to the bathroom 3-4 times, and you empty your bowel, the way you feel like, you will never forget that. So in this training, we want you to focus on experience. It actually is a requirement to pass. All right? You gotta experience what you learn. Because knowledge is everywhere. It's in the book, it's everywhere. But we need you to have the experience. And the very moment you experience how it works for you, then you can recommend it to somebody. Then you can do it for somebody else. Because we want to have effective, qualified, capable medical missionaries. and that require experience, not just knowledge. Amen. So we want you to experience the herbs, the lifestyle changes, the obedience, and we're going to add to the training the spiritual power of it, the emotional power of it. We are many. We have a broken home, broken marriages because of selfishness. Husband being immature, or we don't have the chance to take any teaching on marriage. We just get married because we can pay bill, we can have somebody. But the simple communication, the way to handle situation, the way to plan, we don't have a lot of training about. And the wife also frustrated, okay, her emotion take over. And constantly we are unhappy. And we get sick from that. Constant stress increase your stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. It's a problem. And when these two stress hormones are high, you're going to inhibit, you're going to make your cell very insensitive to insulin. So they will not allow insulin to take the sugar into your cells. Then your insulin level will be high. And insulin is a growth hormone. So if you're having a constant stressful life as a woman, you're going to grow fibroids very soon. For men, you're going to have an enlarged prostate very soon. So the stressful marriage life will surely make us sick. But we have a problem. There's no herbal tea for it. There's no herbal formula that when you are stressed, you're fighting in your home, husband and wife arguing for nothing sometime, instead of just being humble and forgive each other and correct things, right? There's no herbal tea for you. But thank God we have a remedy, the love of God. When we understand how much He loves us, when we understand the humility of Christ, and the husband choose to be humble like Christ, the wife choose to be humble like Christ, they will humble themselves, reconcile, forgive each other, and will heal. No herbal tea can do it. No diet, no plant-based can do it. But the teaching of the Bible, of the character of God revealed in Christ, will heal us emotionally, will fix our relationship. That's the reason why in the training, we are not just focused on herb and food. We focus on the whole being. We are afraid of the future. When you understand God's purpose and vision for your life, every fear of the future will disappear. And more than that, God is committed to fulfill His purpose and vision for your life. Christ has committed with His life. He died for it. Say, I am committed to fulfill what it says about you. When you understand this, it will remove low self-esteem from you. It will remove the fear of the future. Now you want to live according to God's purpose and vision for your life. Oh my goodness. Now you're experiencing the complete healing. The herb are healing you physically. The understanding of the love of God is healing you emotionally. The understanding of the God purpose and vision for your life healing you mentally. And more than that, you have a better relationship with Christ will heal you spiritually. So this is what we're going to be teaching by God's grace for the next 3 months. May the Lord bless you and keep you. But I would like to say, I will mention a few herbs in the Bible, just few, okay? And you will see that indeed the Bible is the best source of any herbology. So I will mention a herb like mandrake, for example, because we have mandrake right here. Look at formula number 3 for colon. You have a mandrake, you have a senna, cascara sagrada, cayenne, and ginger. Now, the same mandrake is one of the powerful herbs to clean up the fallopian tube of women. It really, really helps you. By the way, I can say this. There was a sister that took this class in 2020. She and her husband were struggling for years to have children. Just to have one child, Lord, please, praying. And by God's grace, took this class in 2020. And I spoke to her. I said, look, I said, change your body chemistry. She said, what do I mean by that? I said, change all this food. Remove the grain, all the toxic food, everything, and go and eat the roots. If she's from Jamaica, so the dasheen and all the root, eat root. Avoid too much of this chemical of the the bread and the pasta and the cereal. Leave them out for a good time, at least 6 months or a year. And then start taking the herb that's going to cleanse all your organs, especially your woman organ, all of this. Balance your hormone, everything properly. Guess what? Later on, the sister, it take like a year or two. She said, I have a 6-month daughter. When I heard that thing, I can feel a chills on my back. What obedience, what a knowledge and obedience can do. It's not because God does not hear our prayer. God has already answered our prayers, and the answer is in obedience. And the problem is we don't even know. We are many on this line, we are very sick of condition that we can reverse in the next 3 months if you are fully committed. And if you have knew 5 years ago, many of us will not be suffering today. So I want you to watch this. Let's imagine that we have a sister right here, that her husband is going to have prostate cancer in 2030. 2030 prostate cancer. Okay? And let's say that by God's grace, they pray and fast and the cancer disappear. Imagine you're going to pray for anyone these days and the cancer disappear. People are going to start calling you, please pray for my man, pray for this, pray for my husband, I want the cancer to disappear. People will line up that you do the miracle of prayer to heal them. But watch this. If from today you learn about the prostate health, the herbs that are good for the prostate, like sarsaparilla, guinea hen weed, and food like you have guinea hen weed, you have poke root, and more for the prostate. Now in the food, you have black seed, you have pumpkin seed, you have shaga. So you start helping the husband to properly take care of their prostate. Start eating a healthy tomato, have a lot of lycopene, reduce the inflammation in the prostate. Singing nettle seed, very powerful, and the root for the prostate. So the herb, you put at least 4 herbs: guinea hen weed, stinging nettle root, sarsaparilla, and then a little bit of poke root. Okay, as a tea to protect your prostate gland. You will not have cancer like that. And then in diet, we have sea moss in your smoothie, and you have singing nettle seed a little bit, and then you have a pumpkin seed, and you add all the other stuff you needed in the smoothie for the husband daily. I guarantee you cannot have a prostate cancer. Now, if we prevent the cancer from happening, I see a miracle. Follow very well the analogy here. I'm saying, if you did not do anything for your husband, and in 2030 he have cancer, and anybody pray on the husband, then the cancer disappear. Wow, miracle. But if you learn right now, and then you educate your husband, and thank God you support that he's obedient, because some of us, we don't listen to our wife. May the Lord have mercy on us, and may we repent and change and start listening. So it's very important. So many of us are going to die because we are stubborn and rebellious. It go both ways. So if you start now helping with the knowledge and obedience, and then you don't have the cancer, I look at it as a miracle. So through knowledge and obedience, you prevent the cancer. Now, if the person have the cancer, you heal it miraculously, it's the same healing. Prevention is a healing, and healing is a healing by the same power. So who created man? Who created sarsaparilla? God. Guinea hen weed? God. Sea moss? God. All of this in God. So who through obedience prevent the cancer, prostate cancer? The same God. So I want all to see that learning and obeying is a miracle. Or you might never heard this from me, but I can tell you now, it's so strong in my mind. That means I'm inviting you to become a miracle worker. Learn and start educating the church members, friends, family. Start leading people to obey, reversing diabetes, preventing the worst things. You are doing a miracle. Are you hearing me? So knowledge plus obedience equal miracle. Put it somewhere, put my name on it. This is going to help us to value knowledge and value obedience. If anybody open any center right now, that if you come with your cancer, will heal you, people will line up, it will be packed. If you have another center, say, come and learn how to heal, how to prevent disease, very few are going to show up. How damaged we are. If you open a church for miracle people, everybody run in there. You open the same church to educate people to prevent disease, they're like, I don't have time for it. Oh, no. So God, people, this evening I am inviting you to learn the things of God that have provided the herbs. So when you look in the Bible, you can see in Genesis about the mandrake, for example. Okay, let me read from Genesis 37 about myrrh first, right? Look at this right here. For the mouth you have myrrh. So when you go to Genesis 37 verse 25, it says this, and they sat down to eat bread, and they lift up their eyes and look, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camel bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. It was used as a medicine. So myrrh that we're using today have been always used in the Bible. Next one, let's take about mandrake. Okay, mandrake is right there in Genesis 30 from verse 14 to verse 16. And you will see that Rachel was looking for mandrake to clean up her organs so that she can conceive. And there was a lot of discussion around that with Leah's son. You can go look it up. So the mandrake, it said, Genesis 30 verse 15, and she said unto her, isn't it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband? Then thou wilt take away my son mandrake also. And Rachel said, therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son mandrake. Why Rachel needed mandrake for? To clean up her womb, clean up her fallopian tube. Because it was known that mandrake helped women to have a healthy organ and conceive and then be pregnant and have a child. I've been using the Bible for all of these years. But today we become so ignorant, and I don't know what we study in school these days. So you have mandrake right. Let's look at nettles, singing nettles. It's right in the Bible. Okay, the nettles is there and being used. Look at Job. Look at the Proverbs. Look at Isaiah. So Isaiah 34 verse 13 talk about nettles. Proverbs 24 verse 31 talk about nettles. And then Job 30 verse 7 talk about nettles. So most of the herb you're going to see here, they are right there in the Bible. The balm of Gilead, all the herb, everything is coming from the Bible. So we need to know it was a normal way. It was a way of living. It was divine provision. But a lot of things have been changed by the base system, that we are no longer knowledgeable with divine provision as food, as a medicine, as business. So in this training, we are going to really look at the herbology from God's perspective. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. And we're going to take a few questions that we're going to close. And I can tell you by God's grace, you will not regret to take the training. All right? Thank you so much. And invite friends and people to come, because we're going to have Dr. Barbara O'Neill with us. And by God's grace, something going to happen. All right? Thank you so much. We're going to take a few questions. But maybe before we take the question, we're going to play a short video of the advertisement video, even though we did it in the morning. We did it in the beginning of this presentation. We're going to do it again. so that everybody have a clear idea of what's coming up. So Sister Rhonda, help us to play the video first, then we start taking the question, please.
Okay, Pastor.
So please be patient. Those who are with us, be patient with us for a minute. Then you're gonna ask your questions, okay? Oh.
On Tuesdays and Sundays from 5 with Gospel Medical Missionary, live with the Level 1 training. Join Barbara O'Neill, Pastor Koku Amatonu, MH, on Tuesdays and Sundays.
The volume is very low. We can't hear anything.
Starting August 3rd to October 28th. Learn about 100
Will you restart,
with Gospel
please?
Medical Mission. With unlock the secrets of natural health with Gospel Medical
Will
Mission.
you restart the
Live
video,
for
please? We
Level
could
1
not hear in the beginning.
training. Join Barbara O'Neill, Pastor Koku Amatonu. Unlock the secrets of natural health with Gospel Medical Missionary, live with the Level 1 training. Join Barbara O'Neill, Pastor Koku Amatonu, MH, on Tuesdays and Sundays from 5 to 7 p.m. EDT, starting August 3rd to October 28th. Learn about 100 herbs, 100 formulas, 100 natural remedies, healing spiritual aspects, and much more. Discover multiple income streams through online courses, natural medicine, 12 dimensions of disease, and health coaching. What does the presenters have to say about the training?
Now, the purpose of the training is not just about giving you a lot of information, because many are after just knowing stuff, just accumulating information. That is good. But more than that, we want you to experience what you're going to learn. You see, you can learn about a herb and forget. But when you learn about a herb and you know how to make herbal formula, and then you take it and then you feel how it works, you will never forget that experience.
The subjects that I will be covering is hormonal imbalance. And there can be different reasons for this. It can be different in different women. There certainly are some common factors, and I will be covering that in my first class. So the second class will be looking at enzymes. We'll be defining what they are and the role that they play. The third class, I'll be looking at our microbiome. Our microbiome is the healthy or the friendly bacteria.
A suggested donation of $500, US dollars. Payment plan available. Contact Pastor Koku Amatonu at 347-984-3402 or visit www.144,000famamysteries.com or 4thamministries@gmail.com to register. Make a living with medical missionary work.
All right. Thank you very much, Sister Rhonda. Now we open up for the question and answers.